June 29th, 2020. Okay, so due to the drought, the ram pump shut down about 2 days ago, I think, might be 3. And I had gotten it back up and running last night, but it didn't stay running. We just don't have quite enough water volume coming through. So it's time to switch up to a different valve. The current valve that's on that pump, because it's an 1.5-inch pump, is an 1.5-inch valve. And I ordered on Amazon about a month ago. It finally got here last week. This is an 1.25 inch brass foot valve. Got this for 20 bucks on Amazon, which is awesome because I know the local hardware store probably would have got me for 60 or 70 for this same valve. This is how they normally look. Ordinarily this goes on the end of a suction line to a pump, and when you turn the pump on, it sucks water through. When you turn the pump off, it closes back up and prevents water from flowing back out, so the pump stays primed. But we use these the other way around. We take this nut off, we pull the spring out, and then that valve sits like that, and it sits open, and as water flows down the pipe to the ram pump, it drives it closed, and it cycles. These valves are nice because they're on a guided valve guide, and they have a nice valve seat in them. I think there's even a rubber gasket in these, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's actually a rubber gasket in there. Yeah, I don't know if you can actually see that. But anyway, there's a rubber O-ring in there. So these are nice, so the valves don't wear out easily, that sort of thing. So I'm going to take the spring off this, and I picked up the adapter plumbing fittings that I need to plug into the existing pump, and we're going to go try this in place of the 1.5 inch. I have not done any modifications on this yet. I may at some point add a threaded rod like I did on the other one, so I can add weights if I need to. I have a suspicion I'm going to need to do that, but we'll see what it does stock first. Alright, here we go. So with a wrench and a pair of pliers, I've taken this apart. Just took the nut off and the spring out. The stainless steel shield will go back on with the nut. And I guess now we can show you the valve seat. See how nicely chamfered that valve seat is? The rubber gasket. That gives you a nice long wear life. A nice smooth operation. Very reliable and steady. So there we go. Assembled with adapter. So here we are down at the old Ramalama Ding Dong pump. That's the standpipe. It's never good when you see the reflector down in the pipe. That means water supply is low. And you can see we didn't have enough water and the pump tripped out. And so now it's just dumping water, and there's not enough volume to drive the valve. So we're going to switch out from the 1.5 inch to the 1.25 inch. Let's see what we get. Okay, so it's been a long time since I pulled this valve out, and it appears it froze in even with the Teflon tape. I probably should have retaped it before I put it back in the spring. So got the valve off, but not with the adapter. I usually keep the valve and adapter as a unit like this. That's why I had this closed 1.25 inch nipple here. Here's the old 1.25 inch swing check valve set up. You can see how much play those valves have in them. That had the same adapter set up. So, no big deal. I do have a pipe wrench, but I don't have it with me, and I want to just get this rolling. So I'm just going to install this without the nipple, and we'll give it a try. So the reservoir is refilling the standpipe. I got an air bubble in the pipe on the supply line to that, so I'm going to have to purge that out. But just for a quick testing, does work. It does cycle pretty fast, like I thought, without any weights. So I'll probably add a threaded rod to that to give it a little weight. Also, I was looking for a sleeve to kind of smooth it out. Forgot to grab a piece of pipe that would sleeve around it like the 2-inch does around the 1.5-inch pump. But I stuck this key on. Like that. That seems to help smooth it out a bit. I don't know. We'll see what it does. I have a feeling I'm going to have to add some weights to this valve too to get really get the efficiency back up. So is that balance. The real trick, you want the velocity of the water in the line to get as fast as it can before that valve closes. And that's how you transfer more energy or more water or increase your efficiency. June 30th, 2020, update on the ram pump. I discovered I had a leak on the big IBC tote, so I've temporarily repaired that. So that was part of my problem, but with this valve as light as it is, it's not really delivering all that much water. So I'm going to go for a real simple, easy solution. I'm going to just basically, sorry for the camera there, I'm just going to basically drill this out and run this bolt through and epoxy it to this for now. And just kind of see if we can tune this with some weights to get a little bit better water delivery and energy efficiency. Yeah, so carry on. Good. One hole drilled. Okay, we've bolt in place, and I probably should put a hex nut to connect, but I think I'm just going to try epoxying and see how it works. Well, it's epoxied. Now we wait 24 hours. And then we'll see if that weight helps, and then of course now we can add magnets on top of that to change weights easily to see what the best tuning weight actually is. For now, we wait. Okay, well, it hasn't cured completely yet, but it's cured enough that I want to test it. I'm a little anxious to get this new valve straight, so just epoxied a bolt on after I drilled the upper part out, and we're going to give it a shot here and see how it does. Seems to be running decent. Still not a whole lot of stroke length there. Let's add a magnet. Uh-oh. That's the end of that epoxy. Okay, so there you go, a farm fail. What are you going to do? Alright, back to the gluing board. Okay, back at the drawing board. Went down and got a hex nut at Williams today and a matching bolt that fits the thread on the top of this, on the top of the valve. I grabbed a washer to act as a point for that to hit against, so we're not just hitting steel on brass. And of course the hex nut is too long for the valve to close, so I'm just going to cut the guard. Pardon the camera work. I'm going to cut the guard right off of this and just be done with it and have it out of the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and thread this up with some epoxy in it so it won't back out. Let it cure for 24 hours, and then we can put this back online, and then we can add weights if we need to with magnets on top of here. So there you go. Alright, the dirty work's done. I can always come back and touch that up with the grinder later. I just want to get this thing working for now. That's a little more like it. No more bridge in the way. We can close, we can open, and we can add weights. Now we just thread it up with a little epoxy. Alright, it's assembled and epoxied. Now we'll let it cure. Tomorrow we'll try it. Should work nice. Well, finally back to install the new valve in the ram pump. Just took a peek in here to see what the pond looks like, and realized that in the windstorms we had that came with the thunderstorm, this giant tree came down into the pond. Big old cherry, I think. Hard to tell. I think some vines on it as well. So we'll have to inspect that tomorrow. Kind of surprised. Alright, on to the install. Here we are at the stem pipe. I've had it shut off. We're going to flip the bypass and go switch the valve. Install the new valve. Shut the bypass off and send the water. And some water begins arriving. Looks like that valve is floating a little bit. Alright. Let the drive pipe fill. Listen to the tree frogs. Watch the gauge. There she goes. Stand off to the side of the valve discharge so you don't get wet. And see. Seems to be running okay. A little wobbly, but we got to put a sleeve pipe on it. So let's get that set up. Well, if the solution is that it was in the environment, how easy can it be? Seems to have smoothed out pretty nicely. Seems to be snapping nice. And that's without adding extra weights so far. Except, of course, the nut and the bolt that have been added. Let's try it with a weight on quick. One N42 permanent magnet. I kind of like that rate. Let's go see how the pipe sounds up by the standpipe. That'll give us a better idea of how resonant we are. Well, first thing I notice is we're getting a nice good thud. And the pipe where it goes into the thrust block is doing its vibrational flex there. I could definitely improve the efficiency of this pump by supporting that pipe the rest of the way up and stiffening things up a bit. That's on the to-do list, but for now that's a good indicator that we're moving some water. We're slapping pretty good. And then the other question we could ask ourselves is, are we holding up with water supply? And it seems to be recovering and not dwindling over time so far. And of course we can tell that just by looking at the gauge here on the pipe, on the standpipe. And the standpipe, for those who don't know, acts as a buffer for water supply for the ram. And it does a bunch of other handy stuff too, like giving you a place to bypass a reservoir to pull water from, etc. But it seems to be slapping pretty good. And sustaining that water supply so far, so that's good. What I really should do is take and slap a 90 on here and measure how much water we're actually using, but I feel like that's working pretty good. Let's just pop this off again quick. I feel like that's running pretty nice for now, so let's see what kind of water delivery we're getting up top with that. That'll tell us where we're at. Also, I wonder, just turning 90 off of the discharge. It's like going to the eye doctor. 1 or 2. And again, 1 or 2. I don't know. Just occurred to me. Doesn't really seem to matter much. Almost seems to be a little better offset in the discharge. So what I'm envisioning there is that water is spinning as it comes off of those valves to come up into the outlet on the top of these pipes. Anyway, this seems to be running good, and I'm going to stop babbling and go see what we're delivering for water. I shut off the reservoir and just opened the output valve at my benchmark point up top at the barn. So we'll go see what water delivery is. Okay, so it's not a whole lot of water, but some water is better than no water. I can definitely water plants, water chickens, and sustain things here with that. And I think we'll go back down and throw another magnet on, or maybe 2, and see how it functions with some extra weight on. See if maybe we can improve that volume a bit. But of course it'll have to stay within the water supply. We'll just throw this dirty quart jar underneath it quick just to see. That's not horrible. It's not a ton of water, but it's not horrible. Anyway, let's go throw some other weights on and see if we can improve that. At least enough to watch out this nasty mason jar that's been sitting here, because I haven't measured water volume in quite some time. Quick check on the gauge. Looking good. Okay. Let's try 3. What's that do? Can we even get this down over that? Just barely. And how's our water supply holding up? Seems to be holding up. Let's go have a listen. Ah, well now that's a difference, isn't it? That's a hard slam coming back. Hear that nice thud? That's where we'd like to be. How's the water supply holding? It's definitely brought it down a bit on average, but it's holding. I find if the pump's running and that reflector stays about an inch above the top of this pipe, you're solid. If it goes below that, that's when you run low on volume, get a bubble, and stall. Now let's see what our water delivery is up top now. Okay, here we are. Doesn't look like much more of a trickle, but let's just see how long it takes to get 200 milliliters. That'll give us an idea. Well, there's 100. There's 200. We'll let it go to 400, then sell. That'll give us a good time, and I'll crunch the time, and we'll see how much water we're delivering now. But that's not great, but not horrible. Some water is better than none, and of course this is nice fresh spring water. And there's the 400. Alright, we'll see what that does. That's it for now. We'll see if this runs reliably like that now, and then we'll go back and see how it's wearing and all that sort of stuff in another video. For now, thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network.